Hello, beautiful warriors, and welcome to episode 0.5 of my magical girl game devlog. So this is 0.5 because I just wanted to talk a bit about stuff like project setup and programs I've been using and software packages and stuff like that. One of the things I want to talk about too is like even early on, like project difficulties. So I had spent maybe 2-3 months working on the game and gotten pretty far. I was pretty happy with where it was going, and the entire project got corrupted, and I lost all of my work. So that really sucked. So I bit the bullet and decided to set up a Perforce server. And for those that don't know what Perforce is, it's a versioning control system. So essentially what you can do, this is Perforce right here, is you can make edits to any file, and any edits you make will be updated into a change list. Like let's say here I have a bunch of textures I've updated in this change list. And so these are all of the changes I've made in this version. So if I go back to, if I right click this and say, I have to do view history, and now I can say, let's see, source art. See, here's my entire project directory right here on the left, and I have my depot, which represents the folders on the server, and then my workspace, which represents my folders on my PC. And so this is all of my current versions of my PC files. So I can have previous versions of the files on here. So let's say if I go to character, shared, base, textures, and you see I have some of these checked out. See, these have a plus on them, so they're marked for add, so they haven't been added to the server yet. This one has art. You see the change list. It says initial source art submit. Let's see, maybe I think I have one that has more versions. Let's see, export. Okay, here we go. Here's just the base body skeletal mesh I've exported. So I have my initial submit change list. I have a change list after that where I had made changes, like I changed the mesh and model a bit. And then third change list, I was setting up the materials. So at any point, I could grab any of these previous revisions, say like, oh, if this one gets corrupted or I made a mistake and I have to redo something, I can just go back to a previous revision and get it. So versioning control is super, super, super important, especially if you're working with a team, because everyone has access to everyone else's changes. So this is like one of the main things you're using in like a professional game dev environment. And without it, it'd be impossible to make games, especially now that we're all working remotely. Due to like after COVID, the entire games industry is pretty much all working remotely now. So this makes a huge difference. It would be nearly, if not completely, impossible to make games without versioning control. And it also has integration directly into Unreal. So if you go to, let's say, here, you just right click and we'll say, I think it's because if I just right click and go revision control on an asset, you can see I have sync, checkout, sync and checkout. So sync is just syncing with whatever files on the server. So if you have a previous revision and someone else has checked in a new revision, you can sync to their latest revision. And then check in, look at the history. Diff against depot is to say like, okay, what are the differences between my current file and the file on the depot? Mark for adding it to the server. And so like version control, very, very, very important. So now that I have this, even if my entire project gets corrupted, don't have to worry about it. I have a previous revision, a backup. And to set this up, it's actually a pretty big undertaking, and I had to set up an entire Amazon web server, which I am not a networking engineer. I had no idea what I was doing. This was incredibly difficult for me to figure out. So that was a headache, but I got it working now. My revision controls are working. I have like as much storage space as I need. So we're all good with version control. And the next thing I want to talk about a bit is just my software packages. So the main DCC, so digital content creation software I use is Maya. And you can see here I have my just my mesh for the protagonist. She has her dress. It's all separated out into different pieces. And then she's all skinned to this skeleton. My primary job at my day job is and you see it's just basic skinning, so this could look a lot nicer than it does. My primary job is character rigging, so I'm pretty good at it. At least I think so. Um, so so that's what I have here. And she's pretty low poly. This isn't typically the type. I have to retopologize her. She has too much topology, and it's not very clean in places like her knees. Like around here, this topology is not great. Topology around her elbows, though, I looked around her elbows and behind her knees like this. I've never seen this before. I looked at the models from Guilty Gear, and they actually are modeled like this, which I thought was really smart because it, with cell shading, it actually keeps the deformations looking really nice and really low poly. It's like a pretty efficient way to do deformations on the elbows. And so you can see I originally modeled the dress in Maya, which I was not happy with, and it was pretty painful to get to even this, and I don't think it's that good. So I switched to and started learning a program called Marvelous Designer, which is specifically built for making clothes and outfits. And so this is how I designed her casual outfit, and you can see you can just simulate it. Simulate. Come on. Simulate. There we go. And you can just simulate it and kind of move it around and poke it around to get it to fit the way you want. All right. And you can see down here are all the like different clothing sheets and stuff. Like so. Pretty powerful program, relatively easy to use, though I am still learning it. So a lot of things I don't quite know how to do yet. Like more complex stuff like the dress I want to do is pretty complex, so not quite at the skill level to be able to make something like that yet, but that just comes with practice and time. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was the lighting engine I'm using. So let's see, originally I was using the default Unreal lighting engine and writing my own cell shader, which you can see here. Ignore how saturated it looks. The textures I had to update to get working with the new lighting engine, so it looks very saturated. So this one on the left was my original cell shading setup. So I wrote this shader, I did everything. And one of the things I liked about this shader was if you look at the shadows actually update based on the camera forward vector. And you can see they don't update on the other mesh. So that is something I did lose with the new lighting engine. Maybe I can add it back again, but that is an effect I liked because that is kind of how you would draw it by hand. Those shadows don't stay the same shape if you're looking at like an actual cell drawing or animation. So this one on the left was my very original Toon shader setup, and you can see I have outlines and stuff. And the one on the right is just the basic engine. It's the same exact thing with just the engine, just the lighting engine applied. And then this one if I switch to my dress outfits, and then this one right here that I'm playing as is the lighting engine plugin and the cell shader with my lighting improvements. So this is with the changes I've made to the lighting engine on my character, and she has her own she has her own light rig that only affects her. It doesn't affect anything else in the world, and she's not affected by any lights in the world. That's why she's not casting a shadow. Um, but eventually, I'll be able to fake the shadows. I just haven't decided how exactly I want to do that yet, because that could be, depending on how I do it, could be very performance costly. There's just a lot of ways I could approach that. So the lighting engine I'm using is called Mooatoon. And I don't know how I found this. I just randomly found this engine on like, I was very lucky. I love the way it looks, but it's called Mooatoon. It's actually made by a Chinese developer, so all the documentation stuff's in Chinese. Google's translating everything for me, but it was kind of funny that I found that. You really don't find stuff like this very often. But yeah, it's all on GitHub. It's not completely open source, but there's good support for it, so that's good. It took me a while to get it started because it's I haven't worked with UE5 plugins as much yet as UE4, so it was a bit of a learning curve to that too. Let's see. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the assets I'm using. So, like a lot of the art assets I'm just buying off the UE marketplace, because I do not have time to make this stuff on my own, especially if I'm doing like combo systems and stuff. That's a lot of animations I can't do, like just by myself. I was originally an animator, so I could, but the animation just takes so much time. I wouldn't be able to feasibly do it on my own. So one of the biggest groups I'm getting animations from is called We Make the Game. So I'm getting a lot of animation assets from them. You can see I have this stylish rifle, Mai Tai, superhero sets, Taekwondo set. So I have a lot of these animations, you see. So I'm bought a lot of animations from this group, and I like theirs a lot. They feel pretty good, and then I can edit them myself if I need to, like the timing and the posing. I can re-export them into Maya and retarget them onto my character, and just edit them to get it looking nicer on her or feeling better with the combat system I'm building. And then I'm also getting some environment packs. Like I downloaded this Japanese city pack, which has a lot of different assets too. And this one I'm going to obviously update with my own cell shaders and stuff. I've mostly just got this for the base diffuse textures and models. Like the lighting and stuff I'm gonna have to change completely. Let's see, I think that's it in terms of like just the basic overview of like introduction to how I have the project set up. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next devlog. Hopefully I'll go over more like actual gameplay stuff. All right, see you next time.
Huh? Not my fault you didn't set the alarm.
I'm gonna be so late and I've got a math test first